In this video, I'm taking you with me to Tokyo for some cymbal hunting, catching the Blue Note Jazz Fest, and a bunch of other side quests along the way. Hey, I'm Joven, welcome to Project Beats. This video is a little different from what I usually post. I'm not much of a vlogger, as you'll probably notice, but I figured this trip was worth sharing. So, you guys are coming with me on this trip, whether all 5 of you like it or not. Just a heads up, the footage is a mix of iPhone clips, vertical, horizontal shots, camera footage, and photos. So thanks for bearing with me. So yeah, story time. We just got back from a 12-day Japan trip with a few goals. First would be catching Snarky Puppy, Marcus Miller, and other amazing artists at the Blue Note Tokyo's Jazz Festival. Also, we'll be doing some cymbal hunting, more on that later. And we also like to do Momijigari in Sapporo, which is autumn leaf hunting, because we're older and why not? It's beautiful, so we're gonna try to see if we can catch some autumn leaves. We were a bit early though for peak autumn, and the main reason why, and mainly why we're in Japan, is I wanted to celebrate my 40th birthday in Japan with my family. So we start off from Singapore, just me and my wife, which is where we are based. We took the ANA flight. This photo is when we were flying over my home country, waving hello to the Philippines. We'll be meeting up with my fam a couple of days after. We landed at Haneda Airport around 6 a.m. with my empty cymbal bag on hand and 2 growling empty stomachs. So first up, breakfast and coffee. There's a Starbucks in Terminal 2 departure area, so we headed to a cozy bookstore area right next to it. The atmosphere there was super chill. You could have your coffee while reading a book. There are some comfy chairs, also some souvenir items you can get. I usually skip Starbucks and opt for small independent cafes. At home, I make my own espressos and lattes, but this was the closest one. And I have to say, their coffee in Japan tastes different. It's better than what I've had in Singapore or Philippines. Maybe we were just really hungry, but I was really enjoying it. So after fueling up, we hopped on the KQ train to find our hotel. Having lived in Singapore, we were pretty confident navigating the train system. What could possibly go wrong, right? Famous last words. We were wrong. What should have been a quick under an hour ride turned into an hour and 45 minutes of wandering around the Tokyo train system, thanks to our constant mishaps with the express trains. Here we were, 2 bleary-eyed and confused travelers dragging heavy luggage and multiple bags through different KQ express trains. It was not the ideal start to our trip. We had only managed about 4 hours of sleep before the flight, and we'd come straight from work. So by this point, we are completely exhausted. Finally, we threw in the towel and grabbed a cab to our accommodation. When we arrived, we found out we couldn't check in early because they were fully booked. So we powered through and decided to hunt for our first meal back in Tokyo. We ended up at Tonkatsu Toyama in Asakusa. This was a couple of blocks away from our hotel, and let me tell you, the food was incredible. I ordered katsudon, while my wife got the tonkatsu. The staff was super friendly, the ingredients were good, the flavors were amazing. We walked around a bit more, had a bit of massage to kill some time while resting. Then, we were finally checked in around 3 p.m. The lesson learned? Arrive in Japan at check-in time. Or maybe arrange early check-in beforehand. Take some time to rest when you get there and ease into your first day. And yeah, definitely learn the KQ line. That train is confusing. After a couple of hours of rest, we ventured out for dinner at my favorite sushi spot in Tsukiji. Sushi Zanmai. I'm sure there are better and more affordable places, but this one is special for me. We met up with friends who were also in town for the Jazz Fest and joining us for cymbal hunting, and then made our way to Tsukiji's Colonel Sanders. Then we dove into some sushi. As always, it was incredibly fresh and simply amazing. Pricing is not so bad as well, especially for that level of quality. We sat right in front of the sushi chefs who personally hand us our orders. Exactly how a first dinner back in Tokyo should be. Subarashi. Day 2, Jazz Fest day. Pumped for this day. We were still pretty tired from the day before. We went for a quick bite and some coffee. Not the best coffee I had in a while, but this will do. We were pretty close to Sensoji Temple, and you would see all those rickshaw tours around. We got to Ariake Arena. There was quite a long queue, but it was really well managed. So, first up was Candy Dolfer. It was a very good start. They sounded really good, very tight as a group, horns blasting, super tight, you know, stank face funky. They had a young drummer, which I thought sounded really good. I dig it. I'll just show you short clips, otherwise this video will be a whole day long. Also copyright strike, so yeah. Next up, Snarky Puppy. I did like their performance. They were, of course, amazing. Great musicianship, as you can imagine. But let me preface the following rant by saying, I initially scheduled to get to Japan on the 23rd of September, but then I saw this Jazz Fest, so we rebooked our flights earlier specifically for this and paid full concert ticket price mainly to watch Snarky Puppy and Marcus Miller. So here's how it went. There were multiple band stage set up on the sides and behind the main current playing band. They take 30-minute breaks in between every band to swap stages, to set up everything. New drums, new amps, instrument, and so on. By the way, this was in Ariake Arena, which was very new. Super nice venue. I think this is the new one they built for the Tokyo Olympics. But anyway, changing bands and set up every break, we go out to stretch a bit and buy some drinks, snacks, and merch. So, Snarky Puppy starts, right? Initially, they started okay, of course. We were all excited. We don't care much about what's going on technically. I'm talking about the live mix. So the drums was a little bit loud. There was a slight imbalance on the mix. It just sounded, you know, punchy and a bit aggressive. Overall, it was okay. But then it started to go downhill. You could literally hear the mix changing while they are playing, as if the sound guys panicked and just, you know, pulled everything down. Here's what I mean. You probably won't hear much difference from my video capture, but it just got worse through the end. But I mean, what happened, right? Why did they do them like that? I was confused. But yeah, I was pretty snarky during their entire set after that first song. Side snare was way too loud. The main snare wasn't popping like the previous band. The mix just kept on moving. Just a lot of technical problems going on. Most of it is the drum sounding bad. Like a heavily muffled, no tone, just plasticky, slappy sound. Basically, if you filter out the tone and just hear all attack. I'm not sure if it was the drum tuning, probably not. Or the way the drums was played, also unlikely. And yes, of course, I love to hear the drums sing. I thought maybe because there was a lot of different stages to set up and then something probably went wrong. The overall balance of the sound wasn't good, they lacked clarity and all that. If it wasn't obvious, I didn't have a good time, and I'm assuming the band as well. Unfortunately, they did not recover the good mix throughout their set. But I tried to enjoy it as it was my first time seeing them live. I was pretty hyped because the first band sounded fantastic and they were the main reason why we were there and adjusted our flight schedule and all that. So you can imagine how bummed I was. Even my wife, who is always very forgiving, she was like, yeah, they sounded bad. I tried to enjoy it. I was just very distracted and disappointed. But okay, rant over. It is what it is and it was unfortunate. By the way, Larnell Lewis wasn't playing. He had a different thing going. I'll definitely try and watch them again live if ever they come back in Asia, or if I happen to be near their next show. Niles Rodgers brought the mood back up a little bit for me. It wasn't jazz anymore at this point, to be honest, but it was groovy, funky, soulful, and mostly nostalgic. He knows how it's done. You don't get Grammy for no reason. It was good. Great set, great feel. If you don't know Niles Rodgers, look him up. He's behind some of the most successful songs and behind big name artists. Then of course the other artist I flew over for, Marcus Miller. Dude can play. By the way, it started to sound better at this point, and boy, he poppin'. Yeah, stank face on. That set was fire. That was really good. They got it sounding like a record, you know. I mean, playing wise, it was clean, it was tight. Of course, next level musicianship. That brought me right back up. After Marcus Miller, we tried to get Blue Note Tokyo's merch during the break, but there was none left. We only got, what do we got? I think it was here. This. Right, tote bag. We should have lined up from the first break, but we didn't know there was merch for sale until we decided to look for it. Probably gone at the first break. Anyway, we didn't stay for Chicago, who was actually the headliner for day 2 of the festival. Obviously, we're not that big of a fan. We thought best to explore and have dinner. The festival started around 12, which is when we lined up. Then we went out, I want to say around 6 p.m. Overall, great lineup, fantastic musicians. Beside the bad mix, it was great. I had fun. It's always good to see musicians you look up to perform live. Okay, since we're here together on this trip, next stop is Ginza for dinner. We decided to go for ramen, and no, not Ichiran. So we went for Ippudo. Of course, there are probably plenty of better ramen shops around, but we just wanted something familiar and easy to find, and Ippudo was closest at that time. And here's how the rest of the evening went.
Sorry, one chocolate.
Day 3, I'm going to continue with this talking head voiceover thing because I tried doing it in the moment and I look super weird and awkward more than usual. So yeah, we're gonna stick with this style. So yeah, cymbal hunting day. As I mentioned, I'm turning 40, but my back, I guess, is now 70 years old. So I wanted a cymbal that can function equally well as a ride and a crash for different styles of music. That way I can just bring one crash ride cymbal and a pair of hi-hats for, quick bar gigs. I needed to work more on the jazz side of things, but it has to function in most, if not all, that I play. It is a tough ask, but I narrowed it down to 2 cymbals, which are Meinl Bison's Foundry Reserve 20-inch light ride. Okay, that was long. And then the Zildjian 19-inch Constantinople crash ride. Based on reviews I found online, I'm leaning more towards the cons because it sounds more versatile, at least from the videos that I see. But when paying this much money for a cymbal, I wanted to try it first. Singapore doesn't have any of them in stock in store to try, and unfortunately, I know this for a fact, big music stores in Singapore that carries these brands don't believe that much in the drum market in Singapore. They don't stock any good pieces here. Few and far in between, if and when they ever have them. Maybe it's just Singapore is too small, I don't know. You have to pay for them upfront to order them, any items that isn't in store, which means you can't try them or you have to find them outside yourself. So hopefully I get to try them in Tokyo. I did check online and it says in stock, but the page was only in Japanese and I'm relying fully on the webpage Google Translate function. So hopefully they have it in store. First up was JPC, Japan Percussion Center. I don't really know if they have the cymbals I like here. I just really wanted to visit and probably get some accessories and toys here and whatever else I could find, which I did. They are more for the classical side of the market, but they do have some good drums here as well, as you can see. By the way, when we got here, we could feel the weather changing, which was very welcome. Cooler breeze is always nice. It marks the start of autumn. We went to the 6th and 5th floor first just to check what's in there, but we went down to the 2nd floor that has more of the drummer's gear. Obviously, I'm like a kid in a candy store here. Always nice to see drum gears that aren't usual. They have some locally made items and imported ones too. I don't know where to look at first. I checked their cymbal selection. It is not that extensive. They have some brands that I haven't seen before, but besides that, it's just the usual stuff. I got some souvenir drumsticks that I will never use. They are just too kawaii, Also got a small stick bag that I want to put inside the cymbal bag. This one is smaller than the Mono Shogun stick bag. The one I got can hang on the side of the floor tom. You can easily access wire brush and sticks for quick changes. Much better than the Mono Shogun bag. I've gone full minimalist now on gigs. I don't want to bring gigantic stick bags just for one pair of stick and one pair of wire brush. Sign of aging, I guess. Also got me a fluffy kick beater for the mini kick drum. They have the Gretsch Brooklyn Micro, which I really wanted to get, but not the right time.
Ito naman. Ba? Uy, ito. Maganda to. Promising.
Okay, onwards to Ekibe drum station at Asakusa. This is the one that I kept on checking, so I am hopeful I get to try the cymbals here. Also, I had scheduled just this day to look for cymbals. Oh yeah, and whenever we take the subway in Tokyo, we instantly miss Singapore MRT. Because there are always you will see escalators and lifts, which is a rarity in Tokyo. You would see people up and down the stairs carrying their luggage. Stairs. But then taxis in Tokyo are really expensive, so you have no choice really. Anyway, we go in the store, checked around a bit, and then asked their staff if they have what I was looking for. The first thing we hear with cold shoulders is we don't have it. They are probably just tired of tourists, especially ones lugging around a camera. So I bought the empty cymbal bag for nothing, I guess. I did ask them why their website says in stock. Then he explained that they carry them, but some of the items they have to order from the maker to bring in. And that would take a long time. Plus, you would also have to pay them up front, which was the thing I was trying to avoid in the first place. So yeah, I'm blaming Google Translate. Because I need to blame something. They do have one Meinl Foundry Reserve, but the one that doesn't have a bell. It's no good for me. I thought about getting other cymbals, but then I don't really need them. I'm thinking might just spend it towards some mics, maybe earthwork mics. I don't know. I'm a bit confused at this point, really. I did buy a couple of things here. Canopus leather washers and a drum cloth dampening muffler thing. Where is it? This thing, 14 inch. It's their own brand drum station. Sits exactly on the snare drum or floor tom. I decided to sit on it, think about it for a bit. I left my cymbal bag at the storage lockers at the train station. Cost 700 yen for a day. The stupid thing that I did is I tried to see how to unlock my locker and get my things. So, yeah, I ended up paying double. Anyway, we went for lunch just to settle a bit. Quick ramen at Kamukura, Asakusa. Although I'm not sure if this is ramen. The broth is very light and it says noodles with soup in their tag, but ramen on the menu. So I don't know. Doesn't taste like ramen to me. But the serving is gigantic. We didn't have any more ramen after this for a few days. We had a bit much. This was in Yodobashi, Asakusa, which apparently has a music store section. So we went up just to see what's in there. They have some usual gear there, nothing much. Didn't really expect anything from Yodobashi as they are really a tech store. We went up the 7th floor because I know there is a batting cage up there and I wanted to try it. But then I quickly realized it's a holiday that day and everybody was having their Shohei Ohtani on. So no chance for me to try it. Maybe next time. After this, we decided to be a tourist and enjoy the rest of the day. Worry about the cymbal hunt tomorrow. Honestly, at this point, I settled on just bringing the empty cymbal bag home. Nothing I could do about it really. No choice but to pay up front without trying it. So what do we do to bring up the mood? Shiba Inu Cafe. That's right. We stayed there for around 30 minutes. That was fun actually. Then after that, we had a quick coffee at Kukuruhime Cafe. Great coffee. I had orange yuzu, I forget, orange yuzu coffee or something, iced coffee. But it was really good. Then we walked over to Sensoji Temple. There were tons of people out there, tourists everywhere. After tiring ourselves from walking, we head on to Kura Sushi, popular conveyor belt sushi chain. Not the same level as Sushi Sanmai, of course, but this is much cheaper, but quite good actually. We tried most of what's interesting for us, but we enjoyed that actually. To be honest, there really isn't much food we tried here that is disappointing. Most of it, if not all that we had, was quite good. And I'm a picky eater, so that says a lot, right? You can imagine how hungry we were by the tower of plates we have left. Lastly, for the day, some souvenir shopping at Don Quixote. And when in Donkey, sorry about that. And that brings us to the end of the failed cymbal hunting day. Day 4, which is the second and final day of cymbal hunting. We don't really have any more extra free day to do this actually, because we have a schedule lined up going to Sapporo the next day and meeting with my family when we return back to Tokyo. So this is actually the last day for cymbal hunting. I'm already set to go home defeated if I don't find it today. So we start the day with decent coffee this time. Starbucks was about 3 minutes away. I would have gone for a Kisaten while in Japan, but they are farther away and open late. By the way, we really felt the changing of the weather, which we are all for. Very nice to actually feel the start of autumn. So going to Ochanomizu Station to go to Drum Connection. But at this time, I don't really know what to expect. Actually, from the photos, it looked like a smaller store compared to the others. I knew about this store last time we were in Tokyo, but didn't have a chance to visit. It was a nice walk at Meidai-dori Street, going to Drum Connection. The street was lined with guitar stores left and right, some record stores as well. So we go in. They had a good selection of high-end kits and cymbals actually, and surprisingly, they had 2 of the 20-inch Meinl Foundry that I was looking for. And they also had the 19-inch Constantinople that I wanted to compare it with. Finally, I was stoked. I did get to choose between the 2 Foundry. I went for the brighter, more pingy sounding bell. Then I asked to try both the Cons and the Foundry. I bought it in the drum room for me to try. The audio from these clips that you are seeing is raw audio from the camera. I might shoot something else, but there are tons of examples online. So this is not the best audio, but
What's the other one called?
okay, I ended up going for the Meinl Foundry. I have a 22-inch Constantinople bounce ride at home. I thought I was gonna go for the 19-inch Cons, but while I like the crash and the bell of that Cons, still not a ride, and I will be playing about 70 to 80% ride than crash. The Meinl won me with a beautiful sounding ride and the bell that cuts, which I find is rare for a jazz ride. And the crash has different characters and nuance to it, depending on how much you like it to open up. It's not as bright, but I like the warm and trashy sound of its crash. So yeah, success. Look at that boy smiling from ear to ear though. Alright. The rest of this video from here on will be sort of a travel vlog, which I know is a bit off for this channel, so I will just sweep through some of the highlights for this trip. I was thinking to put the entirety of this trip on a separate channel It would be cool to know if some of you guys are interested in seeing that though. But just for housekeeping and keeping things organized, the rest of the video, part 2 if you will be on a separate channel. If you're still here, thank you. So yeah, here are some highlights for the rest of the trip. We went on to Shimokitazawa after I dropped off the cymbal at the storage locker. The missus wanted to go and see the place, so here we are. I literally cannot complain. We had a lovely afternoon coffee at Brooklyn Roaster and went around for the evening. They had this moon art night installation going on as part of their autumn festival. It was cool to see. We had a lovely time checking the area and just walking around. Next, we went to Koenji Station. Same thing, just seeing the place and walking around. Although it might be better if you come here earlier in the day. We sat down and tried this lemon sour drink on this izakaya, which was 190 yen in the posters, but ended up paying a bill of about 1,200 yen, if I remember right. Probably more. That's 2 glasses of lemon sour and a table charge. If you know, you know. More on that wrong decision on the part 2 of this video. Then we went back for dinner with friends. The next 48 hours would be spent in Sapporo, mainly hoping to see some autumn leaves. But before that, we got to Haneda Airport and I saw this guy walking his double bass guitar to check in. Pun intended. All you jazz cats would get that uncle joke. Anyway, the bass guitar was just in a soft case and I was like, this dude is pretty brave, man. Then we lined up to check in as well. Then I see this huge Japan Airlines box in front. They start to load the double bass in that box really carefully. I walked closer. I see there was protection and a good amount of padding in there. Man, the Japanese really knows how to take care of everybody. At least from what I saw. We normally see these things online. They were very respectful of the instrument and all that. The guy walked away looking confident, at least from what I see. I thought that was pretty cool to see. So we get to Sapporo and to our hotel. Again, after traversing many stairs whilst carrying our luggage. First day highlight for me was the curry soup we had for lunch. You see, I'm a picky eater and I don't like curry. But we were there, so I wanted to at least try it. And let me tell you, I don't mind coming back to Sapporo just for that dish, man. That was fantastic. I loved it. Won me over, I guess. After that, we got our rental car for the next day. We were planning to leave early for a long drive ahead of us. For our first night in Sapporo, it was 19 degrees, which was cool, literally. The next morning, we started our long drive. We initially planned to start the day at around 6 a.m., but ended up leaving at around 8. We headed for Daisetsu-san National Park. We know we are very early for fall colors. All the forecast leading up to this day tells us that autumn will be delayed by about 2 or more weeks. And we were there on the 25th of September. Although from our research from previous years or further back, they say Daisetsu-san is one of the first places to show fall colors. So we'll just drive there and hope for the best. If you don't see it, we'll just enjoy the drive and the nice weather. We stopped by a nearby town by about halfway through our drive to look for some coffee and maybe some pastries. And again, the people were so nice. I mean, Japanese people are generally nice, but from what we have experienced, people here are extra warm and very welcoming. Or are they just like that in Hokkaido? I don't know. So we got to Daisetsu-san, and what do you know? Fall colors. It's not peak fall colors, but still beautiful. I actually also enjoyed the drive up here. It was my first time driving on this side of the road. I kept on pulling the seatbelt from here, which was nothing but air, because the seatbelt is here. Scenic drive was very relaxing. I enjoyed it. We also went to Shikisai no Oka. I'm probably butchering this Japanese name, so sorry for that. But this is a panoramic flower garden. That was a sight to see. Great to see all these flowers in full bloom. We also wanted to see the Blue Lagoon as well, but we didn't have enough time because we have to return the car before closing. Otherwise, we'll have to extend one more day, which we couldn't afford to do. Anyway, we got back in time. We went up the Sapporo TV tower for the city night sky view. That was a great view of the city. Then for our final dinner, of course, we had to try miso butter ramen in Sapporo. Bit of a story here, but I'll save it. We ended up at Teshikaga Ramen. That was an amazing meal. That's the first time we tried that, but the taste was sort of nostalgic for me. At least some parts of it. And again, from a picky eater, that was a home run. 10 out of 10, definitely would recommend. We went back to Tokyo by plane and finally met up with my family. I brought them all here so we could all gather, enjoy Japan, and celebrate my 40th together. Some of the highlights were driving around Fuji to see the sights. We booked a house we could stay at near Mount Fuji. That was in Fuji Kawaguchiko. We stayed the night to welcome my 40th birthday. Before that, this was our drive to our house for the night. That was one scary drive. It was literally about a meter of visibility. At some point, it was shorter than 1 meter. Just got back from a long, windy, foggy drive. It's about a meter or 2 meters of visibility. That was a scary drive at night as well. So, but here we are, the eve, the night before I turned 40. The family is now doing a kombini dinner. Just a quick pan. Show you guys the fam. Say hi, guys. All right, we're just gonna have a bit of a dinner, quiet time. Enjoy the night. See you guys tomorrow. The weather wasn't good for the 2 days we were in Fuji, so unfortunately we didn't see Fuji-san. But being together and the drive itself is a memorable time for me for sure. One funny thing was, I kept reminding my brother to get tickets for the top of Shibuya Sky, but I forgot to buy tickets for me and my wife. We got there, of course, it was sold out, so my parents and my brother went up there by themselves. I haven't been there as well. That was a bit of an L. Anyway, we found this shared lounge on the 11th floor beside Starbucks. It had a nice view of Shibuya as well. We stayed there for a bit. So yeah, we went on to be a tourist for the rest of the days we had left. I showed my family some of the usual spots to see, went for shopping and all that. Then we parted ways at the end of our Japan trip. They went back home to the Philippines and we went back to work in Singapore. All right, that's gonna be my longest video I uploaded so far for sure. If you're still here, thank you for staying until the end. I'm gonna be back to hibernating from uploading again. I'm just kidding. If you wanna see the entirety of this trip, I will post a link somewhere in this video. If you like this video, forget about subscribing. Help me move to Japan, man. If you are hiring, hire me. I'm very good. Trust me, bro, I'm very good. Okay, see you in the next project.